Howdy everyone, it's Sam. Welcome to Wobble and Jaw Sports. If you're new around here, hope I can get you to consider to like the content and subscribe to the channel. But if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. There's only a handful of teams left. Let's look at one of the other remaining Queensland sides, the Gold Coast Titans. Their pre-season challenge starts this Sunday. Game number 1, they are away to the Dolphins up at the Sunshine Coast. Then a week later, they are the home team, but they are taking the game out to Ipswich, where they host the Parramatta Eels. It's the Dolphins and the Eels that lie in wait for the Gold Coast Titans in the pre-season challenge. Looking at fixtures in blocks of 5, the first section for 2024 for the men from the glitter strip looks like this. In round number 1, they host the St. George Illawarra Dragons Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Round number 2, they have their first bye of 2024, so they're going to give a hell of a lot of themselves into that opening fixture, I feel anyway. Round number 3, they have their first away trip for the season, down to Belmore to take on the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. I think it might be their first ever venture down to Belmore, maybe just their second, but it's a rare trip to spiritual home ground of the Bulldogs. Saturday, 3 p.m. in New South Wales, 2 p.m. here in Queensland. And then to round out their first section, they have 2 Queensland games. Game number 1 of that is at home, Saturday, 7:30 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. locally, Titans versus the Dolphins. And then in round 5, they have another Queensland or all Queensland affair. Round number 5, Sunday afternoon, Channel 9 footy, the Cowboys versus the Titans up at QCB Stadium. As far as strength of opposition goes, if they can finish with a 3-1 record at the end of 5 rounds, they'll absolutely take that every day of the year, every day of the week. If they come out of that 2-2, you can be obviously content with that, but I think it would be mightily disappointing if they don't walk away with at least 2 victories inside that first 5 weeks. Beginning section 2 for the Gold Coast Titans, they remain on the road. So in round 5, they were up in Townsville. Now they're all the way down in Canberra to take on the Raiders. Sunday twilight fixture, 6:15 p.m. kickoff nationally. Round number 7, they host the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles, and that is going to be one of the most anticipated games. They're fighting each other twice this season, but this will be one of the most anticipated games, maybe not just of that weekend, but of the entire season. They then hit the road again. They hit the plane actually, and they travel across the ditch to play a very special game. The first ever Anzac Day game in New Zealand. The Warriors versus the Gold Coast Titans, Thursday, 2 p.m. In Australia. So I'm not sure if you'd classify that as a short turnaround. Saturday, they host the Sea Eagles at 5:30 p.m. in round 7, and then they travel to play the Warriors on a Thursday, 2 p.m. kickoff game. So that's going to be pretty hard for the Titans to wrap their heads around, but they're a part of something very, very special. Round number 9, they're back at home for a Saturday game, so they do have a good 8 or 9 day turnaround between games, and they host the Melbourne Storm Saturday, 5:30 p.m, and they get another game at home. So back-to-back weeks they're at home, and their next game is against the North Queensland Cowboys on a Sunday Channel 9 afternoon fixture. So the strength of opposition, we've got Raiders, Sea Eagles, Warriors, Storm and Cowboys. That's a tricky month and a half for the Gold Coast Titans, I feel. Rounded out specifically with the Warriors, Storm and Cowboys. The Sea Eagles always tend to play really well up on the Gold Coast and give them a lot of curry. And this year, just with Desi Hasler being the head coach for the Titans, they're going to be up for it a little bit more so than a regular old home and away contest. And then they're down in Canberra. This part here just for now, I think this is where we'll find out how the Titans will finish up in 2024 in this period here for now. Phase number 3 for the Titans begins with Magic Round. They host the Newcastle Knights at Suncorp Stadium Saturday, 3 p.m. 1 week later, as a matter of fact 8 days later, in round number 12, they are still playing at Suncorp Stadium. They take on the Broncos, but they are the away side this time, Sunday, 2 p.m. against the Broncos, and that game has had some wild moments over the past half a decade or so. Their second bye of 2024 comes in round number 13. They then play at Cbus Super Stadium for the first time in about a month. They host the South Sydney Rabbitohs in round number 14, Saturday, 3 p.m. And then they're on the road again. They jet down to Leichhardt Oval to take on the Tigers, Saturday, 3 p.m. So that's 2 Saturday, 3 p.m. games in a row for the Titans. I think there's a real sniff that they could go through that period there, 2-2, possibly 3-1. I like the Titans against the Tigers and the Knights, and then they got a couple of blockbusters against the Broncos and the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Bear in mind that State of Origin is well underway throughout this portion of the fixtures, so teams are going to be altered left and right, and obviously injuries and suspensions may rear their ugly head for teams. To start Phase 4 for the Titans in 2024, they host the New Zealand Warriors Saturday 3 p.m. That has become a pretty exciting fixture every single time they host the Warriors. In round 17, they have their third and final bye, and I think that is the earliest that I have seen a team complete all 3 of their byes. So from round 18, it's all systems go, and round 18 starts with not too much of an away trip, but it is an away trip down to Coffs Harbour, C.X Coffs International Stadium, Friday, 6 p.m. against the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. Round 19, 1 week later, they host the Parramatta Eels, and that's a game that has had a fair bit of spice over the past couple of years. And in round number 20, to round out Phase 4, this may be even more anticipated than their first clash against each other earlier on in the season. Desi returns to Four Pines Park. Round number 20, Sunday, 4 p.m, Channel 9 afternoon game. That is going to be a massive slot for the Gold Coast Titans and could have huge top 8 ramifications for both of these sides. I think both of them are in for a sniff for positions 7 and 8 in 2024. So Phase 4 has the Warriors, Sharks, Eels and Manly. Man, and with Origin about and potential injuries and suspensions, oh man, that's a bit tricky. The Gold Coast Titans run to the finals from round 21 to 27 looks like this. It starts at Suncorp Stadium. They take on the Dolphins in their second straight Channel 9 Sunday afternoon game. 1 week later, on the Saturday, it's 3 p.m. kickoff for the Titans and the Broncos. That is a rare day game against the Titans and the Broncos. Round number 23, they remain at home, so they have back-to-back home games. They host the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks Friday, 6 p.m. Round number 24, they're away to the Dragons down at WIN Stadium. That's Sunday, 2 p.m. in round number 24. Round 25, they host the Eastern Suburbs on a Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Round 26, this penultimate round of the home and away season, they are away to the Newcastle Knights. As a matter of fact, I'll just pause there. Their final home game for the season is in round number 25, and 3 of the last 4 games of their home and away regular season are all in New South Wales. Whoa, that is a rough roll of the dice there for the Titans, man. So in round 25, they host the Roosters. They are then away back-to-back to finish the year against the Newcastle Knights on a Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. And then if they're sitting in 9th or 8th and they got to win to get in, they got to travel down to Penrith for the first time in maybe a decade to take on the Panthers. Saturday 7:30, Channel 9 game. Man. So the run to the finals sees 2 Queensland derbies. We've got the Sharks and Dragons, Roosters, and then the Knights and the Panthers. But 3 of those 4 last games in the home and away regular season are all down in New South Wales. And with the recent news that Campbell and Fifita will be missing the first 4 weeks, at least, maybe 5, it's imperative that they get off to a good start. I think the draw that they've got to start the season, they need to be somewhere like a 5-2 or something like that inside the first 7 or 8 weeks of the home and away regular season, because whilst you can say that they're only taking on the Panthers once, they're only taking on the Storm once, and other teams of that vernacular, of that level, it's just the way that this has all been structured for the Titans. There's no real let off or let up in the draw. There are a couple of back-to-back home game fixtures for them, but there's no real sort of lull in their season. It's all systems go for the Titans, man, from pretty much round 5, I would suggest, when they're away to the Cowboys, maybe even in round 4 when they host the Dolphins. So they got to win, in my opinion, to just keep the confidence level up. They've got to win those first 2 games. They've got to beat the Dragons at home and then the Bulldogs away down at Belmore, and then keep their head above water, because it's going to get tough for them. For a young side under a new coaching regime, they're still going to be learning the new ways of Coach Des Hasler. Yeah, man, that's a tough draw. I think that's a bit of a tough draw for the Titans, especially the run home to the finals. Only a couple more teams to look at in my Overlooked fixture series, and I hope you're enjoying it. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care. Adios.